Have you ever felt trapped in your own mind, caught in endless loops of doubt and what-ifs, while life slips quietly by? This paralysis by analysis is one of the greatest thieves of our time, stealing not just moments, but the very potential that waits inside each of us. The harsh truth? Waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect answer, or even the perfect feeling is a mirage. It doesn't exist. Life demands action. And here's where Stoicism steps in, not as a lofty philosophy confined to dusty books, but as a powerful, hands-on guide to breaking free from the chains of overthinking. This journey is about aligning thought with action, about embracing discomfort, uncertainty, and fear, not to be paralyzed by them, but to rise above and move forward anyway. The mind may twist and turn through endless scenarios, but the true power lies in choosing motion over stagnation, discipline over fleeting motivation, clarity over confusion. Every moment spent hesitating is an opportunity lost, a step backward from becoming who we truly could be. In this exploration, you will uncover 8 essential Stoic lessons, designed precisely to shatter that loop of rumination and transform your inertia into unstoppable momentum. From moving before you feel ready, to facing fear head-on through deliberate action. From letting go of the impossible task of predicting every outcome. Because in Stoicism, virtue isn't measured by the thoughts swirling unseen inside us. It's revealed unmistakably in the actions we decide to take. As you absorb these lessons, the invisible armor of self-doubt and hesitation will begin to crack. You will start to see your daily decisions as the foundation stones of your character, the real markers of who you are becoming. This is more than just advice. It's a call to awaken, to step out of the fog of indecision, and to own your power with fierce responsibility. The potential trapped inside you is waiting for the moment when thought surrenders to action and your true life begins. 8 Stoic lessons to stop overthinking and unlock your true potential. 1. Start before you feel ready. 2. Fear is conquered by movement. 3. Stop trying to predict everything. 4. Be more direct. 5. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is eternal. 6. You're judged by what you do, not what you think. 7. Prioritize action over thought. 8. Take full responsibility for your life. If this is making sense to you so far, like the video and share it with someone who needs to hear this. It's an act of shared wisdom, a way to help others break free from their own mental traps, just as you are. We've been navigating the treacherous waters of overthinking, learning how Stoicism offers a compass and a sturdy vessel. We've explored the wisdom of starting before you feel ready, acknowledging that fear is conquered not by stillness, but by movement, and the liberation that comes from ceasing our futile attempts to predict every twist and turn of fate. These aren't just abstract ideas. They are foundational shifts in how we approach our lives, designed to move us from passive spectators to active participants. Now, let's dive deeper into the next set of principles, each a powerful antidote to the paralysis of excessive thought, guiding us toward a life defined by intentional action and robust character. 4. Be more direct. In an age saturated with information, opinions, and endless choices, it's easy to get lost in the labyrinth of indirectness. We overthink not just what to do, but how to do it, what others might think, and what the perfect approach might be. This leads to convoluted plans, delayed decisions, and a general muddiness in our interactions with the world and ourselves. Stoicism, however, champions clarity, honesty, and directness, not as a blunt instrument, but as a razor-sharp tool for efficiency and integrity. To be direct is to cut through the noise, both external and internal. It means speaking plainly, acting decisively, and addressing problems head-on without unnecessary embellishment or avoidance. Think of Marcus Aurelius, writing in his Meditations, constantly reminding himself to strip away non-essentials, to see things as they truly are, and to act in accordance with nature. Nature, in its essence, is direct. A river flows directly to the sea. A tree grows directly towards the sun. It doesn't deliberate or second-guess its fundamental purpose. How does this translate into our modern lives? Consider the endless email chains filled with polite but vague language. The meetings that circle around an issue without ever landing on a solution. Or the personal relationships where unspoken resentments fester because we're afraid to articulate our needs clearly. Overthinking thrives in ambiguity. It thrives when we send a text with 3 different interpretations, or when we hint at a problem instead of stating it. What is it that you truly want to achieve? What is the core problem that needs solving? What is the most straightforward path to that outcome? Often, we complicate things because we're afraid of the consequences of being direct. We fear rejection, confrontation, or being seen as rude. But Stoicism teaches us to act according to virtue, regardless of external outcomes. If honesty and clarity are virtues, then directness is their natural expression. Imagine a situation at work where a project is stalling because of a bottleneck. The overthinker might spend days analyzing different political angles, drafting carefully worded emails designed to offend no one, and still end up with no progress. The direct person, grounded in Stoic principles, would identify the issue, approach the responsible party with clear, factual information, and propose a solution, focusing on the shared goal. This isn't about being aggressive. It's about being efficient and truthful. It's about respecting everyone's time, including your own. In your personal life, directness can be transformative. If you're overthinking a difficult conversation with a loved one, the Stoic approach would be to articulate your feelings and needs clearly and calmly, without blame or evasion. It's about owning your part, stating your truth, and allowing the chips to fall where they may. You cannot control their reaction, but you can control the clarity and integrity of your communication. This reduces the mental burden of rehearsing endless scenarios, because you've decided to put your cards on the table. Directness also extends to our actions. Instead of endlessly researching the perfect diet or exercise routine, a direct approach is to pick a reasonable starting point and begin. Instead of agonizing over which book to read next, pick one and start reading. The act of choosing directly without excessive analysis empowers you to move forward. It acknowledges that the vast majority of our choices are not life or death decisions requiring infinite deliberation, but simply steps along a path. The path itself becomes clearer as you walk it directly. This principle is a potent weapon against procrastination and indecision. When you commit to being direct, you strip away the excuses, the elaborate preambles, and the self-sabotaging detours. You decide to act on the clearest, most rational course available, and you do so with conviction. This isn't about being impulsive. It's about honoring the brevity of life by refusing to waste it on unnecessary complexities. Be direct with yourself, direct with others, and direct in your actions. It's a habit that cultivates courage, saves time, and significantly reduces the mental clutter that feeds overthinking. 5. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is eternal. How many times have you waited for inspiration to strike, for that surge of energy and excitement to kickstart a new project or break a bad habit? We've all been there, glued to our screens, scrolling through motivational quotes, feeling a temporary high, only to find that the feeling dissipates like mist, leaving us exactly where we started. This reliance on fleeting motivation is a primary driver of overthinking because we spend more time waiting to feel like doing something than actually doing it. We analyze why we don't feel motivated, rather than simply acting. Stoicism offers a powerful counter-narrative. Motivation is a pleasant bonus, but discipline is the bedrock of a virtuous and productive life. Seneca, in his letters, frequently emphasized the importance of self-mastery and the consistent application of effort. He understood that relying on emotions to drive action is like building a house on shifting sand. Emotions are notoriously fickle. They come and go with the changing winds of circumstance. Discipline, on the other hand, is a conscious commitment to a chosen course of action, regardless of how you feel in the moment. Think about the daily tasks that contribute to your well-being or your goals. Waking up early, exercising, focusing on a difficult work task, practicing a new skill, maintaining a healthy diet. These rarely feel motivating every single time. There are days when you're tired, distracted, or simply don't want to. If you wait for motivation, these tasks simply won't get done. This creates a vicious cycle. Inaction leads to guilt, which further saps motivation, reinforcing the overthinking loop about your perceived lack of drive. Discipline is the practice of aligning your actions with your reason, rather than your impulses. It's a declaration of sovereignty over your internal states. When you commit to a discipline, you're essentially saying, my long-term goals and values are more important than my immediate desires or transient moods. This doesn't mean you suppress your feelings. It means you acknowledge them. I don't feel like working out today. I feel tired, and then choose to act in accordance with your higher self anyway. But I know this is good for me, and I committed to it. How do you cultivate this eternal discipline to silence the overthinking mind? It starts with small, consistent habits. Don't aim for monumental shifts overnight. Instead, identify one small action you can commit to daily, even when you don't feel like it. Maybe it's 5 minutes of meditation, writing for 15 minutes, or simply tidying your desk. The key is consistency, not intensity. Each time you follow through, despite internal resistance, you are strengthening your discipline muscle. You are proving to yourself that you are capable of acting on your intentions, not just thinking about them. Overthinking often arises from a lack of clear boundaries and routines. When your day is amorphous, your mind has more opportunities to wander into analysis paralysis. Discipline provides structure. It carves out dedicated time and space for important tasks, reducing the need for constant deliberation. If you have a disciplined morning routine, you don't overthink when to exercise or when to plan your day. You just do it. This frees up mental energy for more complex problem-solving and creative thinking, rather than bogging it down in endless self-negotiation. Discipline also builds resilience. When setbacks occur, or when life throws unexpected challenges your way, motivation can evaporate instantly. But discipline, born of habit and commitment, allows you to continue taking meaningful steps forward, even when you feel depleted. It's the quiet resolve that keeps you going when everything else is telling you to stop. This resilience is a cornerstone of Stoic living, enabling us to face adversity with equanimity and continue to pursue virtue. Consider the example of a writer. Motivation might strike in a burst of inspiration, leading to a few intense hours of writing. But it's the disciplined writer who sits down at their desk every day at the same time, regardless of how they feel, who actually completes the novel. The overthinking writer waits for the muse, analyzing their lack of creative spark, critiquing every sentence before it's even written. The disciplined writer prioritizes the act, knowing that the quality will follow consistency. So stop waiting for motivation. Recognize it for what it is, a fleeting emotion. Instead, cultivate discipline. Create small, non-negotiable routines. Make commitments to yourself and honor them. Each act of discipline, however small, is a victory over the fickle nature of your feelings and a triumph over the inertia of overthinking. It's a testament to your commitment to yourself and the pursuit of your potential. When discipline becomes your default, the mental energy previously consumed by self-doubt and internal negotiation is redirected towards productive action, transforming your life from the inside out. 6. You're judged by what you do, not what you think. One of the most insidious traps of overthinking is the belief that our internal world holds more weight than our external actions. We spend countless hours crafting perfect arguments in our heads, solving imaginary problems, or performing heroic deeds in our mental narratives. We might have the best intentions, the most profound insights, and the most virtuous thoughts, but if these never manifest in the real world, they are, from the perspective of external reality, non-existent. The world, and indeed our own character, judges us not by our brilliant musings, but by the tangible impact of our choices and deeds. This Stoic principle is a stark yet liberating truth. Epictetus often emphasized that philosophy isn't about clever arguments or intellectual acrobatics. It's about living rightly. He'd scoff at those who could recite philosophical texts, but failed to embody their teachings in their daily conduct. Show me a man who can live up to his own principles, he might say, not merely parrot them. Our society, too, operates on this principle. In the workplace, you're judged by the projects you complete, the problems you solve, and the value you deliver, not by the brilliant ideas you had but never acted on. In relationships, you're judged by your kindness, your support, and your actions of love, not by how much you thought about caring for someone. Your reputation, your character, your very identity in the eyes of others, and ultimately, yourself, are forged in the crucible of action. The overthinking mind loves to dwell in the realm of potential. I could do this. I might achieve that. I intend to start tomorrow. This mental rehearsal, while sometimes useful for planning, becomes a substitute for actual doing. We feel a sense of accomplishment by merely thinking about doing something, tricking our brains into believing we've already taken a step forward. This is a dangerous illusion. It keeps us stuck in a perpetual state of pre-action where our potential remains just that, potential, never actualized. Consider the aspiring entrepreneur who spends months, even years, perfecting their business plan in their head, researching every possible scenario and analyzing every competitor. While planning is crucial, if this never translates into launching a product, making a sale, or seeking funding, all that mental effort is wasted. Their business, their brilliant idea remains a phantom. Meanwhile, a less perfect, but more action-oriented individual might launch a flawed product, learn from their mistakes, and iterate their way to success. The world rewards action, not just contemplation. This isn't to say that thought is unimportant. Deep thought, ethical reflection, and careful planning are vital. But their value is in their ability to inform and guide action, not to replace it. A good thought that leads to no good deed is like a seed that never sprouts. It holds the potential for life, but without the action of planting and nurturing, it remains dormant. Marcus Aurelius consistently reminded himself to embody virtue, not just intellectually assent to it. His meditations are filled with practical reminders to do what is right, to be just, to act with self-control, because he understood that the true test of his philosophy lay in his behavior as emperor, not in his private reflections. How can we apply this to break free from overthinking? First, develop a bias towards action. When you find yourself caught in a loop of analysis, ask, what is the smallest, most immediate action I can take right now to move this forward, even if it's imperfect, even if it's just one tiny step? It shifts you from the realm of thought into the realm of doing. Second, practice radical honesty with yourself. Stop congratulating yourself for thinking about doing something. Acknowledge that the only true progress is made through action. This might feel uncomfortable at first, but it's a necessary step to bridge the gap between your intentions and your reality. Third, observe your impact. Pay attention to how your actions, or lack thereof, affect your life and the lives of those around you. When you see the tangible results of your actions, it reinforces the power of doing and diminishes the allure of mere thinking. Your character is not built from your internal monologues. It is built from your decisions and your deeds. Your virtue is not measured by your private intentions. It is revealed in your public conduct. The world doesn't care about the novel you've planned in your head for 10 years. It cares about the words you put on the page. It doesn't care about how much you love someone if your actions don't reflect it. Embrace this truth. Let it be a catalyst for change. Shift your focus from what you think you're capable of to what you actually do. It's a powerful path to self-mastery and a profound antidote to the paralysis of analysis. You are defined by your actions, so make them count. 7. Prioritize action over thought. This lesson serves as a capstone to many of the preceding points. It's not about being thoughtless or impulsive, but about understanding the proper sequence and emphasis. Thought should serve action, not supersede it. In our overthinking age, the balance has been skewed. We live in a world that often rewards contemplation, analysis, and perpetual planning to the detriment of actual execution. The result? A society filled with brilliant ideas that never see the light of day, and individuals trapped in cycles of analysis paralysis. The Stoics were pragmatists. They understood that the purpose of philosophy was not merely intellectual exercise, but practical application, a guide to living well. For them, wisdom was expressed through virtuous action, not just virtuous thought. Seneca, a master of practical philosophy, would often lament the human tendency to delay life, to postpone happiness, to prepare endlessly for a future that might never arrive. While we are postponing, life speeds by, he wrote. This is the essence of prioritizing action, recognizing that life is lived now, in the present moment, through our active engagement with it. Why do we fall into the trap of prioritizing thought? Often, it's a fear of failure, a desire for perfection, or an illusion of control. We believe that if we just think about it a little longer, we can eliminate all risks, foresee all obstacles, and guarantee a perfect outcome. But this is a fantasy. Life is inherently uncertain and messy. No amount of thought can fully predict or control the future. The only thing we truly control is our response to what happens and our willingness to act. Consider the simple act of trying to learn a new skill, say, playing a musical instrument or coding. You can read countless books, watch endless tutorials, and plan your learning strategy down to the minutest detail. But until you actually pick up the instrument and start making sounds, even bad ones, or write lines of code, even buggy ones, you're not truly learning. A real learning happens in the doing, in the struggling, in the making of mistakes, and in the iterative process of improvement. Your brain forms new neural pathways through active engagement, not passive consumption of information. The overthinking mind often presents a false dichotomy: either act perfectly or don't act at all. This is a lie. The Stoic approach is to act reasonably, virtuously, and courageously, accepting that perfection is an illusion and that learning comes from experience. The initial action is often the most difficult, but once initiated, it generates momentum, provides feedback, and clarifies the path forward in ways that pure thought never could. This principle extends to all areas of life. If you're overthinking a career change, thinking alone won't get you a new job. You need to update your resume, network, apply, and interview. If you're overthinking a health goal, thinking about diet plans won't make you healthier. You need to prepare food, exercise, and make mindful choices. Each of these actions, however small, is more impactful than hours of rumination. To prioritize action, cultivate a bias for doing. First, set a decision deadline. If you're grappling with a choice, give yourself a specific, reasonable time frame to gather information, reflect, and then make a decision. Once the deadline hits, you act regardless of whether you feel 100% sure. This prevents endless deliberation. Second, embrace the minimum viable action. What is the smallest possible step you can take right now? Don't wait to build the perfect house. Lay one brick. Don't wait to write a masterpiece. Write one sentence. This lowers the barrier to entry and allows you to build momentum. Third, understand that action generates clarity. Often, we feel unclear because we haven't acted yet. The very act of taking a step provides new information, new perspectives, and new challenges that refine our understanding. It's like navigating a dark room. You can plan your route endlessly, but only by taking a step and bumping into something do you truly learn the layout. Marcus Aurelius, despite his profound reflective nature, was a man of immense action. He governed an empire, led armies, and dealt with countless crises. His meditations were not a substitute for action, but a tool to refine his actions, to ensure they were aligned with virtue and reason. He understood that his duty was to do, to serve, to lead, not merely to contemplate. In a world drowning in data and opinions, the ability to discern when enough thought has been given and when it's time to act is a superpower. It's the ability to break free from the paralysis of analysis and move forward with purpose. Stop seeking the perfect plan before you start. Start with a good enough plan and refine it through action. Life is a verb, not a noun. Prioritize action, and you will unlock your true potential, one deliberate step at a time. Take full responsibility for your life. This is perhaps the most challenging and yet most liberating of all Stoic principles, and it forms the bedrock of true self-mastery. To truly stop overthinking and unlock your potential, you must fully embrace the idea that you, and you alone, are responsible for your choices, your reactions, your character, and ultimately, your life. This isn't about blaming yourself for things outside your control, but about reclaiming your power over what is within your control. Within our power are our opinions, impulses, desires, aversions, and in short, whatever is our own doing. Not within our power are our body, possessions, reputation, office, and in short, whatever is not our own doing. The Stoic path demands that we focus our energy exclusively on what is within our power and accept with equanimity what is not. Overthinking often manifests as an attempt to control the uncontrollable. We worry about what others think, what might happen, or why things aren't the way we want them to be. We ruminate over past injustices, blame external circumstances for our current predicaments, or attribute our failures to bad luck. All of these are ways of externalizing responsibility, of relinquishing our agency, and of trapping ourselves in a victim mentality. When you blame, you give away your power. When you take responsibility, you reclaim it. Taking full responsibility means acknowledging that, while you cannot control external events, you always control your interpretation of those events and your response to them. A job loss, a relationship breakdown, a health crisis, these are external facts. Your reaction to them, despair, anger, resilience, learning, your attitude, and your subsequent actions are entirely your responsibility. This isn't easy. It requires immense courage and brutal honesty. Imagine two people facing a significant career setback. One person might spend months overthinking the unfairness of it all, blaming their boss, the economy, or their lack of connections. This leads to stagnation, bitterness, and continued overthinking about what if or if only. The other person, embracing full responsibility, might acknowledge the setback, grieve if necessary, but then immediately shift focus to what they can do. Update their skills, network proactively, reflect on their own contributions to the situation, and take steps to find a new opportunity. Their focus is on agency and action, not blame and rumination. This radical acceptance of responsibility is profoundly liberating. It frees you from the exhausting burden of trying to control the uncontrollable. It frees you from the draining cycle of blaming others or circumstances. It shifts your mental energy from unproductive worry to productive problem solving. When you realize that your internal state and your actions are the only things truly under your command, you suddenly have an immense wellspring of power. How do you cultivate this level of responsibility? First, practice ruthless self-assessment. When something goes wrong, instead of immediately looking for external causes, ask yourself, what was my role in this? What could I have done differently? What can I learn from this? This isn't about self-blame, but about self-improvement and reclaiming agency. Second, distinguish between facts and judgments. Events happen. We then attach judgments to them. Losing money is a fact. This is terrible and unfair is a judgment. You are responsible for your judgments, and by changing them, you change your emotional response. Third, embrace the present moment. Responsibility exists in the now. The past is gone. The future is uncertain. Your power lies in what you choose to think and do right now. This pulls you out of rumination about the past and anxiety about the future, grounding you in the only moment you have control over. Marcus Aurelius, as emperor, understood the weight of responsibility, like few others. He couldn't control rebellions, plagues, or the whims of fate, but he was utterly responsible for his own integrity, his decisions, and his leadership. His meditations are a continuous exercise in accepting that responsibility, holding himself to the highest standards of virtue, and refusing to allow external pressures to corrupt his inner citadel. Taking full responsibility for your life means you stop being a passenger and become the pilot. It means you stop waiting for external circumstances to change before you act. It means you understand that your character, your happiness, and your progress are not determined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond. This is the ultimate antidote to overthinking. When you own your choices, your reactions, and your life, we've discovered the power of directness, the enduring strength of discipline over fleeting motivation, and the undeniable truth that our character is forged not in our thoughts, but in our deeds. We've learned to prioritize action, and most importantly, to take full, unyielding responsibility for the entirety of our lives. This isn't just a philosophy to be studied, it's a way of life to be lived. It's a call to awaken from the slumber of indecision, to shed the heavy cloak of self-doubt, and to step into the arena of life with courage, clarity, and unwavering commitment. The potential trapped within you isn't waiting for a sign from the universe. It's waiting for you to give it permission, through your actions, to be unleashed. Remember the words of Epictetus. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them. This is the essence of your power. This is the core of your freedom. What stands in your way? Often, it is merely the thought of what stands in your way. But the impediment to action, as Marcus Aurelius understood, advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way, if you choose to act. So I leave you with this provocation. What small, concrete action will you take today, right now, to break free from overthinking and move closer to the person you are truly meant to be? Don't just think about it, do it. If this video has resonated with you, if it has offered you a new perspective or a spark of courage, please make sure to hit the like button. Share it with someone who might be trapped in their own mental maze. And I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. What's one action you're committed to taking this week to conquer overthinking? Your insights and experiences enrich this community and inspire us all. Until next time, keep reflecting, keep acting, and keep building a life of purpose, one deliberate step at a time.